Justice Michael Wigney wanted to make something clear as he delivered his judgment in Geoffrey Rush's landmark defamation case. It is not for the court to provide some broader social commentary on sexual harassment in the theatre or entertainment industry in Australia, or the Me Too movement, he said. The role of the court is, in simple terms, to apply the laws of defamation in Australia to the case as pleaded by the parties and the facts found to have been proven. Those facts must be found on the evidence adduced in his proceeding and this proceeding alone, nothing more and nothing less. He went on to award Mr. Rush an initial $850,000 in damages in his federal court defamation case against Nationwide News, the publisher of the Daily Telegraph, and journalist Jonathan Moran. There will be more where that came from. Justice Wigney is yet to assess the damages payable to Mr. Rush, who is seeking $25 million, based on his lost income. In his judgment, Justice Wigney said it would have been better for all parties if the matter had been dealt with outside the harsh adversarial world of the courts. But they were not, he said. And so it comes to this. Rush's reputation damaged. Justice Wigney agreed with Mr. Rush that the two articles published by the Daily Telegraph in November and December 2017 had damaged his reputation. The first, published on November 30th, carried the now infamous front-page image of Mr. Rush in his role as King Lear during a Sydney Theatre Company (STC) production 4 years ago. Justice Wigney said using the image of Mr. Rush in character above the headline King Lear was particularly damaging. The image was nothing short of striking, he said. The effect of the pun in the headline, together with the photograph, was almost alone sufficient to convey that Mr. Rush was a man who leered, or looked slyly at people in a lecherous, lewd or licentious manner. Video: Aaron Jean Nerville responds to Justice Wigney's verdict outside court on Thursday, ABC News. Justice Wigney agreed the first article implied Mr. Rush was a pervert, behaved as a sexual predator and engaged in inappropriate behavior during the King Lear production. The second article was published the next day, and included comments from two actors backing up the alleged claims against Mr. Rush. The judge ruled that story was also defamatory, in part because it suggested Mr. Rush had allegedly inappropriately touched an actor, and those claims were supported by at least two other SDC actors and various unnamed sources. Truth defense torn apart. The actor Mr. Rush was accused of touching was not named in the stories, but was revealed during court proceedings to be Aaron Jean Nerville. Justice Wigney was scathing about the truth defense offered by Nationwide News, and Ms. Nerville's evidence. He said the defense offered by the publisher and Mr. Moran was almost entirely based on Ms. Nerville's evidence. It revolved around 8 alleged incidents of inappropriate behavior by Mr. Rush. Some of these were during rehearsals, and some were during performances of King Lear. Photo: text messages allegedly between Mr. Rush and Ms. Nerville was submitted as evidence. Supplied: one was a remark made during a promotional interview for the play, and one was a text message sent by Geoffrey Rush to Ms. Nerville, 6 months after the play had finished. Justice Wigney believed Mr. Rush when he said that text was meant to be a throwaway line or joke. The judge did not accept that any of the incidents had been proved on the balance of probabilities, the standard required in this defamation case. I was not persuaded that Ms. Nerville's evidence concerning them was credible or reliable, Justice Wigney said. On Ms. Nerville's own account, the incidents during the rehearsals were seen by, or most likely seen by, most of the cast and many of the crew who were working on the play. Yet Ms. Nerville's evidence about the incidents was not only uncorroborated but was contradicted by, not only the evidence of Mr. Rush, but also the evidence of, director, Mr. Armfield, actors, Ms. Nevin and Ms. Budai. Contact Kathleen Calderwood. More stories from New South Wales.